Hey everybody, this is Mattie with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're having a very nice Monday so far and a very nice start to your week. We're looking at a few different stories today. A couple of them are Coinbase related. So we're going to look at that first with a story by Luke. We'll take a look at what he has to say about their staff numbers, which are increasing in contrast to the story that we covered just a few days ago about Kraken, who seems to be laying people off. We'll take a look at what's coming out of Vitalik Buterin lately in terms of quotes, in terms of things that he's saying. Like Elon Musk on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's had some comments and he's, displayed some behaviors that have given pause to some of his investors, and people are a little bit skittish. People have reacted negatively. We'll take a look at Lisia's take on that particular issue. Coinbase, again in the news, we'll take a look at what Garrett has to say about their CEO, Brian Armstrong, and his prediction about crypto adoption in the future. But let's begin, as always, on altcoinbuzz.io with this story by Luke. This was the news, Altcoin Buzz Newsflash. So you guys know the drill by now. This is just a recap of the most important stories that we've covered in the last week or so, what we feel are some of the stories that really moved the market one way or the other, for the positive or the negative. Lately, unfortunately, it's been negative. And all the links to these stories, the original reportings, are here if you want to check them out. But far and away, the most important story is kind of this dual bit of journalism where Goldman Sachs halts cryptocurrency trading desk and Goldman Sachs does not. So you may recall that this really sparked the most recent retracement in the market, these news that Bitcoin, the trading desk, was going to be abandoned by Goldman Sachs. And then their CFO came out and said, no, that's not the case at all. That's fake news. We're still going full steam ahead with that particular plan. So take a look at that. Number 2, EU should adopt common crypto rules, report says. Number 3, People's Bank of China is testing blockchain trading platform. Number 4, every week more governments are announcing blockchain adoption. This was from our special guest author, David Freuden, who outlined the case and showed us that it's really something that's growing more and more all the time. So there you have it, guys. All the links are there for you to check out. We're going to link to this article in the description below. Do be sure to catch up and be up to speed on that news if you're not across it already. Looking at this article, also by Luke, Coinbase already doubled its staff in 2018. It's aiming to become the New York Stock Exchange of crypto. So who thinks that 2018 has been a bad year for blockchain and crypto so far? They should probably think again. Looking at the current prices of most cryptocurrencies, retail investors might, of course, argue that 2018 hasn't been great up until now. Fair enough. Looking at the developments in 2018, however, blockchain and crypto are bigger and better than ever, and thus getting closer to the ultimate goal, which is mass adoption. It is therefore not surprising to see that Coinbase, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges, already doubled its staff in 2018. So Coinbase seems to be in good shape and healthy versus, again, I'll bring it up, some of these other exchanges that we've covered recently, i.e. Kraken, that's been laying off employees, dozens of employees, in fact. And Coinbase is right behind Kraken, which was the 12th biggest exchange. Coinbase is the 11th biggest crypto exchange currently on daily volume and probably the biggest name in the crypto ecosystem. And they've reportedly managed to double their staff members, hitting a 2018 target. And don't forget, this is Jeff's opinion from a recent live stream. It's my opinion as well, that even if you've graduated beyond Coinbase, it's still the gateway drug. It's still the way that people enter crypto. They learn how to use their wallets. They learn how to set up, interbank transfers. They buy, they sell, they get familiarized with the most basic cryptos, of which more and more are being added. But to me, that's the importance of Coinbase, is that it's a really easy to use, approachable gateway drug for people that are looking to get into the space. So you guys can read more about Luke's reporting here on Coinbase. Just want to bring up the fact that their CEO, Brian Armstrong, during a TechCrunch Disrupt conference, so he took the stage in San Francisco, and he said that he envisions a future where his company functions as the New York Stock Exchange for cryptocurrency, hence the title of this article here. Here's what he said, quote, "It makes sense that any company out there who has a cap table should have their own token. Every open source project, every charity, potentially every fund, or these new types of decentralized organizations and apps, they're all going to have their own tokens. We want to be the bridge all over the world where people come and they take fiat currency and they can get it into these different cryptocurrencies." So let us know, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, do you agree with Brian Armstrong's vision? Whether you do or whether you don't, I'm pretty impressed by the fact that they've doubled their staff in a pretty, again, going by market metrics, it's been a pretty bleak year. If you want to read more about that particular conference in San Francisco, we'll link to this TechCrunch article. Coinbase plots to become the New York Stock Exchange of cryptocurrency. Plots, I like that. Very funny. In other news, by Alicia, more real-life applications for crypto, says Buterin. But what if they are there already? So Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, has disappointed many crypto lovers in an interview with Bloomberg. He noted that, quote, opportunities for 1,000 times growth are no longer out there. And if you guys have been following Ethereum as far as its price goes, it's been doubly affected by the recent dip because of some of these comments. It's been unfortunate. So here we are on CoinGecko. You could see that Ethereum is under $200 right now, which is almost unheard of. Think of where we were, back in the highs of January, for example. We're going to get to that in a second, actually. But if you look at the 30-day forecast here, I mean, we're down 40% approximately over the last 30 days. We're down over 50% in the last 60 days. Ethereum is just bleeding right now. So I think it's a combination of the fact that you have these comments that are coming out of Vitalik Buterin, who's suggesting that, we're not really suggesting that there's no more room for growth, but that's the way they were sort of misconstrued, unfortunately. And the fact that, as time goes by and you have more and more of these ICO projects, some of which, they're not all created equal. Some of them are going to fail. So many of them are cashing out the Ethereum with which they were funded. I mean, that's unfortunately an inevitable consequence of the way that this structure has been set up. So we're creeping up slowly here in price, but it's taken a beating lately, no doubt about it. So here's what he had to say, quote, the blockchain space is getting to the point where there's a ceiling in sight. If you talk to the average educated person at this point, they probably have heard of blockchain at least once. There isn't an opportunity for yet another 1,000 times growth in anything in the space anymore. Again, that's a quote by Vitalik Buterin. So as Licia notes, these statements come against the fact that Ethereum has slumped dramatically. In January of 2018, it traded at approximately $1,400. And now it's barely reaching $199. In fact, as we just saw, it's just below that. It is, however, worth noting that the market capitalization today is bigger compared to the same period last year when Bitcoin traded at $1,000. So I guess that suggests there's an Ethereum dominance factor that we should take into account. You guys can read more about Licia's article here and Buteric's various statements, some of which have been controversial. But no doubt about it. I mean, I brought up Elon Musk before. It's the case. It's reality that there are some people that are going to judge, perhaps too harshly, but all kinds of comments, all kinds of behaviors coming out of these leaders of multi-billion dollar companies and projects, they will be judged for their comments. And the skittish people are going to pull their investments if they do or say the wrong thing. I think we've seen that with Buterin, unfortunately. You guys can read more about that here on Bloomberg. Crypto growth nears ceiling, Ethereum co-founder Buterin says. Let us know what you think about that. Personally, not financial advice. I don't think Ethereum is going to disappear off the face of the planet. And if you're of that opinion, as I am, then I think it's kind of selling at a steal right now. Just my opinion, though, and not financial advice. Finally, today, we have Coinbase in the news again. Coinbase CEO, going back to Brian Armstrong, believes that 1 billion people will be using crypto in 5 years. Article here by Garrett. So at the TechCrunch Disrupt conference in San Francisco, which we referenced previously, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong predicted that within 5 years, 1 billion people will be using cryptocurrency. Armstrong believes that the catalyst for this will be regulatory clarity regarding crypto assets. So you guys can read more about Garrett's article here. It does overlap with our last bit of reporting a little bit, but specifically we're focusing on this 1 billion people metric that Brian Armstrong alludes to. And if you want to watch the full, it's a bit of an interview. It's a bit of a lecture as well, but you can check that out here. So Brian Armstrong, again, co-founder and CEO of Coinbase, moderated by Fitz Tepper. You can check that out here on YouTube. We're going to link to that. Again, it's from the TechCrunch conference in San Francisco. With that, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, do be sure you're following Altcoin Buzz and Altcoin Buzz News for the very latest that's happening in the crypto space. Don't forget, we're also on Instagram, Telegram, and Facebook. If you haven't checked out our last video, it's available for you to access on the right of your screen just over here, as well as our latest articles on altcoinbuzz.io. Members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, if you choose to invest, I wish you happy investing. Have yourselves a great Monday and a great start to your week. We'll see you again soon in a new video. Take care.